The emergence of the Kuluna gangs in DRC paints a vivid and troubling picture of how societal challenges can give rise to dangerous subcultures. These gangs, now infamous for their violence and criminal activities, began taking shape in the early 2000s, particularly in the bustling and chaotic streets of Kinshasa, the nation's sprawling capital. The roots of the Kuluna phenomenon can be traced to a combination of socio-economic, political, and cultural factors that converged during a tumultuous period in the country's history. At the heart of this crisis was a society grappling with deep-seated inequalities. Widespread poverty left many families struggling to meet their basic needs, while an education system in disarray and high unemployment rates left countless young people with few prospects for a better future. With limited access to legitimate opportunities, disenfranchised youth turned to the streets, where criminal activity offered an alternative path to survival. Compounding this economic despair was the backdrop of political instability. The DRC, plagued by years of conflict and weak governance, saw its institutions falter under the weight of corruption and inefficiency. Law enforcement agencies, underfunded and understaffed, were ill-equipped to address the growing menace of street crime. In this vacuum of authority, gangs like the Kuluna began to rise, asserting their dominance in urban neighborhoods where state presence was either negligible or non-existent. Urbanization added another layer to the problem. Kinshasa, a city bursting at the seams with rapid population growth, became a hub of overcrowded neighborhoods and informal settlements. Resources were scarce, living conditions were dire, and frustration among the populace simmered. In these environments, the Kuluna found fertile ground to recruit members and expand their influence. The gangs became more than just collections of petty criminals, they transformed into territorial entities with their own hierarchies and codes of conduct. These gangs began terrorizing their communities, engaging in theft, extortion, and brutal attacks. Over time, the Kuluna identity evolved into a chilling symbol of rebellion and control, with their presence casting a long shadow over Kinshasa's streets. Recently, the Democratic Republic of Congo's government has intensified efforts to crack down on the Kuluna gangs. In early 2025, over 170 gang members, aged between 18 and 35, were arrested for their involvement in violent crimes, including armed robbery. These individuals were transferred to Anjenga prison in Mongala province, a high-security facility far from Kinshasa. The government has implemented strict measures to deter gang activity, including resuming the use of capital punishment for the most severe offenses. While some citizens support these measures as a necessary step to restore safety, human rights activists have raised concerns about the potential for abuses and the need to address the underlying causes of crime, such as poverty and unemployment. As the Kuluna grew in prominence, their activities posed a significant challenge for both local communities and national authorities. Efforts to curb their influence often fell short, hindered by the very systemic issues that allowed the gangs to thrive in the first place. To this day, the Kuluna remain a stark reminder of the consequences of neglecting societal vulnerabilities and the importance of addressing the root causes of crime to build a safer and more equitable society.